where does one even fit in the time for, the things that a bunch of horny gay men would want to do? And the answer is... Hey guys, what's big, gay, and full of semen? That's right, today we're going to be talking about the Atlantis cruise. I'm JJ.
I'm JC.
I'm Michael.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Milty.
All right, so for those that are not familiar, Atlantis is a big gay cruise. So think 5,000 gay men on a boat for a week, parties, shows, and just general debauchery. I think Atlantis has particular special meaning for our relationship because if people remember from a few episodes ago, we were talking about how we first said I love you, and that actually happened on the dance floor of one of the Atlantis parties 2 years ago. So this year we managed to go as a group of 5 for the first time. It was our 3, JJ, JC, and I. We went on the one in 2024, and then this year we managed to also get Milty and Eric to come with us as well. So we wanted to talk a little bit about our experiences for this week-long vacation, and then also talk a little about gay cruises in general for people that haven't been on one before.
So I went into it expecting that I would have a lot of fun, actually. I knew that there were a lot of parties and EDM or circuit parties and festivals. And I know that isn't something that Michael is that interested in. And so when he came back from the cruise 2 years ago and you said that you had a really fun time there, I was thinking to myself that okay, if you are able to have fun on this type of the cruise, then I'm sure I'll have a good time too.
So if you've never been on the gay cruise before, basically how it goes is it's about a week long. You spend the first and last days sort of going in and out from your starting port. But other than that, you're at sea or going to different areas, and every day there's different activities that you can be doing. So there's shows that the cruise line will put on, which I highly recommend. A lot of people sort of overlook those, but I think they're actually a pretty big highlight. Aside from the shows, there's also going to be parties every day. So some days there will be a tea dance, which is sort of in the afternoon, and there will usually also be a party at night. These will have themes, and people try to dress up for them, although the degrees of sort of effort put into them and how much fabric is involved is very varied. So make of it what you do. But it's a lot of fun to sort of kind of try to dress up and sort of match with your friends.
Don't forget, there's usually an after party after the nighttime parties.
I feel the day is kind of separated into 3 sections. At least is how I think of it. Is that in the morning / afternoon, it's kind of free time. This is when you can go to the pool, do whatever activities there are on the ship. Usually the tea dances, the days that they have them, they don't start until 3 o'clock. So everything before that is just free time. And then there's a nighttime part, which is from 6 to 11 is typically when dinner time / the shows are. And then after that, I think the earliest the nighttime parties start is 11. So 11 until whenever in the morning is the late night part of the day.
So one of the first things you do when you get on the cruise boat is that you actually kind of get set up because you're there for a whole week, and you pack a ton because you have a bunch of parties that you're expected to go to. So it is kind of making your stateroom, your room, your home for a week. And part of that involves decorating, right? Actually, this is one of the things that's I highly encourage you to do if you ever go on a cruise, on the Atlantis cruise, is that you should decorate your doors and you should decorate your hallways and kind of let people know who you are, what you're into, and give people a way to, say hi or give them a way to write notes. So I think we always put a little whiteboard with markers on it. And we post a lot of photos of ourselves and just be hey, this is what we're about. And it's also nice then when you're walking down the hallways to be seeing other people's decorations. It's very, very cute to just see people expressing themselves through the doorway decorations.
It kind of feels like a physical dating app profile.
Kind of, yeah.
Or you're kind of trying to entice people to try to reach out to you.
Mm-hmm. I've heard it compared to a gay dormitory.
Yeah, I think the whole cruise really is similar to dorm life in that you just your friends are just down the hall and going to the dining hall together and stuff like that. It definitely feels a lot like summer camp or like living like in the dorms again.
Yeah, shout out to our friend who like kind of organized our group a little bit more and kind of tried their best to put us close to each other so it wasn't we weren't too far apart. At least we were on the same floor, and that was really nice. On the costumes, I would say less is usually more. You don't really have to go overboard, and of the time, and you end up getting a lot of crap from like Amazon and Temu that you would like never use again. That's what the Atlantis people said, and they were totally correct about this.
I think it depends though, because I think there's some people who really put a lot of effort into their outfits, and that's like part of the that brings them joy.
Yeah, sure. But then there also on the other side of that, it's like there was one of the parties where we had the same costume as like 20 other groups of people.
This happened multiple times. Well, first off, they only released the themes like 2 weeks before the actual cruise. Yeah. So our only options at that point were basically Amazon Prime. And so like everyone on this cruise had the same circumstances. And so I remember for like, there was this one dance that's themed dog tag, so it's like military themed. And like 8 other people had the exact same neoprene harness as I did. And then for this other party that was wild, we were like, oh, we're gonna be original and not do like leopard print. So we got these like feather like harness things. And of course, 20 other people also had the exact same idea. And so there was just like, everyone was wearing the exact same outfit. And I was like, we would have been more unique had we just gone with the leopard print.
So one thing about these cruises is that they pack the schedule like crazy. And there's going to be conflicts with things you're going to want to do and what other friends are going to want to do. And so one of the things is always, and it's actually kind of stressful for me, is that like you want to go hang out with some friends that want to do something, but then there's a show you want to go see, and then you just kind of have to make that decision. I like that it was jam-packed with things to do. I just hated missing out on things. Every afternoon.
Even though that it does sound a little bit exhausting, how there's like 1 to 2 parties every single day. Something nice is that you can like retreat to your own room to get like some rest if you wanted to, or you can go into like one of the places to get food. We had really great memories of just like bumping into like friends that we knew at like 3 a.m. To get like chicken tenders and stuff. That was really fun. Just to get a little snack before getting back to the dance floor.
Yeah, everyone's at the buffet and they're like skimpy little like briefs or like bikinis, and you're just like, oh, okay, I see you also have the chicken tenders.
I think one of the things that like I like about this cruise versus like a normal cruise is that like it did feel like there was always something going on. There was always something to do. Like I remember for like going on a cruise with my family, like it felt like I was just like looking for things to do to kill time. And it definitely didn't feel like that on this cruise.
Yeah.
It's like kind of the opposite.
It's the opposite, yeah.
Just like gotta run to this,
Yeah.
gotta run to
Yeah,
this.
and like the thing is like I actually enjoy lounging by the pool and like having a drink and reading, but I barely had time to do that. At most I got like 1 or 2 hours of that over the whole 7 days, because otherwise I was just trying to sleep or just, trying to like get to the next show or something like that. But it was very nice when I did get to be by the pool and just have a drink and read.
Yeah, I think I often would spend the morning time sleeping. Then as soon as I wake up, I can eat, and then it's time to get dressed for the tea dance or something.
Well, how often do you end up making it to lunch for during the day and stuff?
I think I would always make it a point to eat something when I wake up.
Yeah. Okay. I think I ate every day. I did not skip any lunches.
You did not skip any lunches. But some people got breakfast, right? They were able to get breakfast.
I got breakfast.
You got breakfast. I don't know
I got
how.
breakfast one night when I did not sleep at all, and it was like, oh, well, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I want to see what the main dining hall has for breakfast, and I managed to sit down. And that's when I ran into a friend that like was also there, having not slept much. And then they sat us together, and we had a really wonderful breakfast and chatting, catching up, and it was really nice.
Yeah, meals is like one of the main ways that like I feel like you get to chat with like people that you might not know that well. Like we would run to friends that we knew like a little bit, but we got to know them better. Chatting over meals.
Yeah, honestly, that was my favorite time.
Yeah.
Like just getting to get closer to 2 people, because these are people you would not normally get to see or hang out with. So.
Yeah, it was really nice like having the late night. Like there was these friends that we kept running into at the buffet at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was always like the same group of friends, and so it was like a really fun connection that we had with them.
I found it really enjoyable to see all the shows too because there's such a variety too. There was like the Broadway like musicals that we managed to see. We
It's
had,
so good.
Yeah. We saw Hairspray.
Well, one of them was good. The other one was crazy.
Okay.
The other one was a little insane.
So for context, they every year Royal Caribbean has like a bridge version of a Broadway show. So the first year we had was Cats, which was by all accounts terrible.
It was wonderful. No, it was wonderful. I loved it.
It was
I
an
love
experience.
Cats.
I would say it was an experience.
I will say it was pretty funny having them interact with the pups in the audience. But anyways, I digress. This year was Hairspray, which Eric has been trying to get us to see for the longest time, and I think we all really enjoyed that. But then this year they also had a second production with like the same cast, but it was a Royal Caribbean original. For some reason, it was about the history of flight, which I think is a little bit weird considering that they are a cruise company. But that was like a weird fever dream where it was like a jukebox musical.
But
so
we
it
didn't
was-
know it was a jukebox musical
Yeah.
until like halfway through, and we're like, has it been a jukebox musical this entire time?
It's like they started playing Bruno Mars and we were like, wait a minute, this is a song that we know. And then the aliens started coming down and we were like, I don't know what's happening anymore.
Where did that come from? Like, who wrote this? Like, why did this happen?
They paid money to have someone write this for the cruise.
I think they said it was like a multi-million-dollar production.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. But like, why? Like, why would they feel the need to do this?
And the production was impressive. They had
No,
this-
it was a great
right?
production.
They had a whole scene where they emulated people being in space. So like it was like zero. They looked like they were experiencing zero G. Obviously they're not. And they were showing you how they were doing these like full 360 rotations, and you were kind of like wondering how did they even achieve that?
Yeah, people were singing like fully belting upside down.
Yeah, that was crazy. So it was a spectacle.
It was a
Yeah.
spectacle.
Yeah.
It was a spectacle, but that was about it.
Yeah.
But it was just a lot of like, why is this happening? But yeah, in general, like the shows are great. I highly recommend just going to as many as you can. I think people overlook them as like a sort of like a lame form of entertainment, but they are genuinely like really well put on and very worth checking out.
And if you do go to them, like you know that you will be surrounded by people
Yeah.
who love the person who is performing.
Yeah.
Like we saw
Audra McDonald.
Audra McDonald.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So I think like Atlantis, they typically get like more like bigger names than you would typically get on a normal cruise. So we got Bianca Del Rio, Audra McDonald, we got Hayla. So I think that is something that you probably get on this cruise that you wouldn't get on a normal one.
Yeah, I can't say that I remember seeing anything like that interesting when I was on a cruise with my own family. So like being on the Atlantis cruise and seeing all this kind of stuff just kind of gave me a new appreciation for cruise lines.
I think for like family cruises, it's mostly an excuse for the parents to just like chill out and not do anything and have the kids like run around and like do whatever.
Yeah.
Like, because when I was on the cruise, basically all I did was I stayed in the arcade and I was just playing like arcade games the whole time. And my parents were just like off doing random other stuff.
Right, exactly. Whereas like for the Atlantis cruise, it's like you're there for the entertainment and to be entertained.
Yeah. The arcade room was dead the whole time when we were there. One major recommendation I have about gay cruises is you should definitely go with a group of friends. They don't have to necessarily be your best friends. Like they should be someone that you're friendly with, that you get along with. And what I found, I think everyone's experience here, is that you end up getting closer when you're here on the cruise. I think it's like you said, it's like gay college, where it's just if you remember going to college, or if you went to college and you were in the dorms, like there were people that as long as you like kept an open mind and just by virtue of constantly seeing them, you would end up becoming closer. And I think that that's a very valuable thing to have. Yeah.
I would compare it to kind of like a gay version of EDC, which is already pretty gay.
Yeah.
But it's like you get an opportunity to like develop your relationships with people and kind of like do some like bonding, and you know it's kind of like a trust exercise. You kind of say like, okay, like do I trust the people that I'm around and surrounded with at like a pretty like compact like dancing area, and it's just like a really good feeling to be like, okay, like I'm surrounded by people that like I've developed like a relationship with over the last 7 days.
Yeah, I definitely agree that going with a group of friends really does make like the trip feel very special and stuff. Because I really did like seeing them and getting close to people and meeting like their mutual friends. But what would you say for people who do want to go to something like this, but they don't have like the friend group or support group to go with?
So my recommendation is you find people before you commit to going to Atlantis. Like you just reach out to people. Like I would say, you probably know someone that knows someone that's gone on the cruise, and I would try to network before committing. Like that would be my recommendation at least.
For me, slight pushback is that people on the cruise, generally speaking, are very friendly. Like you can start up just like random conversations with people just at the bar or just at the parties. Like I think I've had the opportunity to just like meet random people that I would otherwise like not ever talk to, like in these very free and open spaces. And I feel like people, generally speaking, are very friendly and are very willing to like strike up a conversation with a random stranger.
Yeah, and they give you plenty of opportunities to like, at like dinner, for example, they'll like, if you're willing, they'll seat you with other people that you can meet. There's like different get-togethers around like different interests. So like if you are genuinely looking to like meet new people and build a new community, like there's opportunities to do that too.
We did an escape room with some kids.
yeah.
They were so nice.
I do feel like because we went in with already like a more like well-defined like existing set of network that we could build off of, like we didn't need to try to establish like fully new connections as much. Yeah. So we don't have as much experience with regards to like what it's like to be someone on the boat without an existing support network. But I feel like it's probably still like if you have like the will to do it, you can make it an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, people are generally friendly, but for me personally, it helped knowing I was with a group of friends to just feel like basically a safety net to just go out and be friendly. It's kind of like a reinforcing, like it just helped reinforce my ability to be friendly.
I will also say that there's a good number of like unofficial events that you more or less need to be like kind of invited to, like whether they be like at the suites or like other types of after parties. So knowing people does help with like getting a foot in the door there as well. I think it's important to feel comfortable like making your boundaries clear and like standing up for them. Like you are on a gay cruise and like maybe your understanding of the perception and the norms is that like people are expected to be more open, but like if you are not willing to do something, like by all means you do not have to. And I know that there are a number of like cases in our experiences where like I think people have not been able to feel like they were able to protect themselves sufficiently, and like being able to like help stand up for them and like keep them safe was like something that I know a lot of us were like willing and like eager to do. So like just make sure that you have like people that you can trust that can help you like be safe and comfortable as well.
Oh, one last thing is the destinations, the ports of call, I guess. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel like they're not very interesting. I think for some people, like they were able to like have a good time doing things that they wanted to do. But I felt like if we didn't do them, I wouldn't have felt bad about missing it.
I think this itinerary, like this route in particular, the ports are like less significant. Also, the weather was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Both of the places we went to, we ended up having to skip the first port because like it was too cold. But then we went to Puerto Rico and San Martin, and then it was raining in both of those places, and it was kind of just like we were already up late, so we didn't have much time. But yeah, it didn't feel like there was a ton that we missed anyway.
Yeah.
And the stops that we had last time when we were on the cruise, like you didn't miss anything. They were just like a beach
I can
resort
imagine.
kind of situation.
Yeah, one of the stops that we couldn't do this year because of political unrest was in Haiti. It was like Labadee. It was basically just like the cruise ship, but on the ground. It was like a private resort, and like the food was from the ship's buffets, and it was basically just like bars and like swimming in the ocean, so it didn't feel like there was anything different.
And I'm not sure if we mentioned this earlier, but this is not the only Atlantis cruise. They have Atlantis gay cruises like all throughout the world. I think in Europe and Asia, and I think for those cruises they tend to be smaller and less party heavy. But the destinations, like I think people do tend to go. They go to more interesting destinations, and you get off the ship and you do more interesting things there.
Yeah.
So maybe we can try that.
Yeah.
If you noticed when Eric laid out the things to do, you wonder where does one even fit in the time for, you know, the things that a bunch of horny gay men would want to do? And the answer is
You don't.
you don't.
That's how I felt. Yeah. I was like, we were going to so many of the shows that I was like trying to schedule in like hookup sessions with people, and like the other person was also doing the same thing. They wanted to go to all the shows, and so in the middle of like hooking up, we're like, we have to go.
Yeah, and the thing
I had to go to this thing, and then they had to go to dinner, and it was just like, okay, well, see you later.
And it's like thinking about it's like I hook up with someone or I want to see Hayla. I'd probably just want to go see Hayla. Like how many times can you like see her versus like you can find someone when you get back. So it's I don't know. It definitely feels more worth it to me to go to the shows than those things.
And maybe you get an opportunity to see each other at one of the parties
Yeah.
later on.
And then from there you can
And
steal
from there you can
steal away to have fun.
I think another thing about the hookups too, I want to say is like the deck with 17. Is it? Where it's like there's like an area that like is like designated for people to hook up, like so that because it's still a normal cruise ship and like the people working there are just like normal cruise ship people. So there's like a designated area, and personally, I did not find it to be a place that was very conducive to hooking up, just because there was a lot of creepers there.
Last time when we went, I felt there were fewer creepers there. I just felt that the energy was better the last time we were in the deck 17, the deck, compared to this year. When we went this year, it felt the energy was way off.
Yeah,
for
it was just like
whatever
instead
reason.
of there's like a lot of people like having fun together, it just seemed like there's a lot of people just trying to like watch and like they're like vultures kind of. And I didn't like that kind of feeling.
It may have been a factor of when we went.
Yeah, we also went when it was like one of the windiest and coldest.
I'm really actually interested in your thoughts about hooking up on the cruise and kind of the dynamics and logistics of that. For me, I actually hooked up a lot less than I was expecting to. Not that that was bad or anything, but for better or for worse, like I feel like I only hooked up twice, which I was perfectly fine. But it was really nice to, you know, like be sexually active on the cruise with other people. I think it was kind of like a good venue to do that.
Is
Was it only twice?
Is that I don't believe you
Yeah.
face?
Was it?
Afters?
I think so. That count? I count that as one.
How many times did you
How
hook
many
up with
people
with-
though?
Oh, no.
Six.
Well, we'll count that as one. We'll count that as one. We'll count that as one.
I don't count that as one.
You count each person.
No, because remember we had this conversation before. You're like, no, that's one time.
Just like it was like one dark room.
Yeah, there's one
Yeah,
dark
yes.
room.
One
You
sent
said this
out of the
before.
dark room.
You said this before.
So even for you,
Okay.
that only counts as
If
one.
I said that, I said that. But
Yes, it was one. It was one dark room.
Okay.
Yeah, but I will say that like this for this trip, I didn't get like I don't know like a cruise bay or I didn't have like somebody that I was like interacting with like consistently.
Did you want that, or did you have that last time?
No, I don't think. Wait.
No, you did not.
No, right?
No.
No, right? Okay, yeah, no, I didn't have that last time. But I do hear that it's like a common experience.
Well, it was common amongst the five of us because last time we went, Michael had one, and this time you had one. Did you enjoy having a cruise bay?
Yeah, it was nice. It was like I don't know, something to look forward to.
Because it was almost every party, right?
Yeah.
Almost every party you guys were.
It was
were at.
because like I think part of the thing too was like going into the cruise, like this was my first time, and so I was like anxious about like how it would be, and like I do have like some amount of like social anxiety, and like I don't like talking to people that much. So just like not only having like you guys there and then having like our friends there, like it was just like there was just a lot of opportunities for me to like be comfortable with people.
I think there's like positives and negatives where it's like it feels really nice to be able to make that type of connection with someone, especially like on such a short time frame. But there's always like the issue of like wondering how much like responsibility to feel towards it, and being like, I know this isn't going to be something that's going to stay after we leave. So like, how much effort do I put into like establishing like this connection now, knowing that it's short lived? It's also like, how much there's an opportunity cost analysis where it's like I could be spending time with this one person, or I could be also like meeting other people like that are potentially going to be like more accessible, or like that are also interesting in their own rights.
Yeah, and then for me, I think I was also like weighing the opportunity cost of like spending time with this person versus spending time with like you guys.
And then there's the feeling of like not wanting to sort of like offend them by being like, hey, maybe I want to like dance with somebody else right now. So like it's a difficult like balance to strike. But it's definitely like still nice to know that you're able to I don't know, get so close to somebody so quickly.
It also probably depends. It's kind of like a case on by a case basis, where it's like if that's what you want and that's what you're looking for is for like a cruise bay and to be like kind of spending the majority of your time with them, then like that's great. That's on what you're looking for. But if it's not, then
Yeah.
like,
I mean, I don't think it was
it's
what
kind
I
of a
was looking
problem.
for.
Yeah.
But it was just like I mean, I came into this like I don't have like a huge expectations for what's gonna happen, so I was very open, just like whatever happens.
Do you think that connection will continue?
I think like trying to keep it like some sort of connection like going at least.
But with like after seeing them like every day for like a
Yeah.
week straight, and
Yeah.
then it's hard to like go.
It's different.
It
It's
continue-
definitely
yeah, it's
different.
different, yeah.
It's just like summer camp, right? It's like the friends you meet at summer camp, and
Yeah,
you spend
yeah.
every day with like these like friends, and you're like best friends for like a week, and then you go back to like
Real life.
wherever you came from.
I think this time, compared to last time, I did have a different feeling about the people that I met on the cruise. The very first time, I didn't feel as integrated into the Gaijin community. So a lot of these people that I met on the cruise, I was like, oh my God, I'm so sad that I'm not gonna see you again after the cruise. And like, I was pretty like devastated afterwards. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sad. Like I'm like all these like amazing people, lovely, wonderful people that I met on the cruise, I'm never ever gonna interact with them ever again.
Yeah.
And this time around, I'm like, hey, I see you, see you next week or see you next month.
Yeah.
Like after the cruise, like we're definitely gonna see each other again for sure.
I think it's also because like we learned after last time, a lot of the people where we never expected to see them again, they've ended up actually like being recurring characters in our lives, and so like we've seen empirically that like even these connections that you don't expect to be able to like withstand the test of like time and distance will actually still come back to you. Going back to the hookup topic, I think like even your count of 2 is on the higher end for our group.
That's not true.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah,
That's the higher end?
it's on the higher end.
Well, like our group, you mean
us
us?
5
Yeah.
or
Oh.
Yeah, you got the most amount of action for sure.
No,
Me?
you did.
No, I didn't.
His is 1.
Oh,
JC's is 2,
Yeah.
really? Yours is 1?
and then you
Even
both
if-
have like 1 person each.
Yeah, but I the same person twice. Does that count?
Well, it's two is still like on the higher end.
That's true.
No, even if we are changing the count to number of people, your numbers of people.
Oh,
is
JC
higher
would be the
than
highest
us
number
still.
of people. Yeah.
Even though you attended those parties?
I only attended 1.
Okay.
And it was only 3.
Though our our Cule is also on the lower end of the Gaijin group
Sure.
in general.
Probably.
Because
There was a
a
poll.
poll. There was literally a poll.
Oh, yeah.
And on the higher end was like, what was it?
40?
Like
20 plus.
40.
Or 20? Oh, 20 or 40, I couldn't.
But like of the distribution, I think that was the lower end.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was 1 to 5 was the category. And there were not that many people in that category to
The
begin
5 to 10 maybe might have been.
Maybe
the-
5 to
or
10,
something.
yeah, was
the biggest
most,
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, of course, it's like it's not a competition. It's like how whatever you want to do.
It's
whatever
what
you're
you
comfortable
wanted.
to do, yeah. It is just fun to kind of be like, I wonder how much
Yeah.
fun this person had.
So I think for a lot of people, like the one of the main appeals of the gay cruises is that like because everyone is gay, that you kind of feel like you get to be yourself more. Like you get to not have to put on like a different version of you for like normal society.
I think at no point did I ever feel like someone was judging me based on my physical appearance and what I was wearing.
No one was judging you for your physical appearance. I feel like that's kind of what's constantly happening at these things.
Well,
And also, you look really
Sorry.
good. You also looked really good. So of
Thank
course,
you.
no one was going to judge you on your physical appearance because you look fantastic.
No,
just-
no one
they
was
just judged
judging me
you-
negatively.
they didn't judge you
Be
negatively.
like, oh, that guy's wearing like underwear or something in the middle of the whatever.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah. I think that's a nice thing.
Yeah, it was like we put in a lot of effort into trying to make our outfits good, but like even if they weren't, probably still no one would have cared.
Or like whatever like body shape that you are, like I don't think anybody is going to like be like confronting you or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that like it is nice that we live in an area that's like pretty like liberal and stuff. Like I think in general we don't have to feel that we have to like hide ourselves as much. And so I can imagine that like for people who live in other parts of the country, like going to something like this is like a really big like change of like how they get to like feel and stuff.
Yeah, like even as someone coming from a place as open and liberal as the Bay Area, like it still feels really nice to be in like that energy and that vibe with surrounded by people. Like everyone's really nice, and I'm sure like we have some benefits of being like on the younger side, potentially like more conventionally attractive, but it just feels like a really like supportive and like everyone's like hyping you up in a way that just like it feels really nice to be around.
However, how do you feel about us being kind of one of the more Asian groups on board?
I think we both this time and the last time, like we've brought with us like 40, 50, 60 plus odd other like Asians with us. So like we're sort of like skewing the numbers.
I would say we probably are like the highest density like Asian group on the ship.
On the ship.
But anyways, which is to say that like we brought our own sort of built-in support network, so I never felt out of place for being Asian. Even though I think like gay cruises have a stereotype of being a little bit more skewing towards like older white male.
Just because of it's
Yeah.
kind of like a bit expensive on the expensive
Yeah.
side so for a lot of people
Yeah.
to afford.
It kind of actually reminds me a little bit of like EDC, where at EDC we are in our little gay bubble, and then you
Yeah.
go outside and it's like, oh, I forget how straight it is. And then like similarly on the cruise, like we were like this section of the dance floor is like the Asian bubble, and everything is like different around us. But like here, it's just like all the Asians.
Yeah.
We got a shout out for for that too.
Yeah, so Dylan Adler was one of the performers on the cruise, and in his set he mentions he's like I was walking around and like all of a sudden it was like I was in Chinatown. But I mean I did hear like some rumors of like things being a little bit less friendly for Asians. I'm not sure how true they were, but things about like some of the private after parties, for example, or like even people on on the shore in Miami where like the cruise was leaving from.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, like the Asians are here kind of thing. Like don't go out tonight or whatever. So I don't know. I guess
Really?
Oh.
I didn't hear that.
I feel like I saw something like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
What was the context for this? Like
It was like, oh, the Atlantis gays are ruining like the clubs again. Like all the Asians are here. Something like that.
And then there was also this rumor, which none of us can confirm at this point, that there was like a whites only party on the cruise, and like supposedly, if they saw you and you weren't white, they'd be like, hey, you're at the wrong party or something, and then they'd like kindly escort you to leave or something like that. I don't know if this is true or not, so it's just what we had heard from several sources, but no one can confirm.
I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest.
But for what it is worth, like, also this is very much colored by like the types of crowds that I hang out with. But I never once felt any sort of energy that like even remotely close to that.
I mean, similarly with like festivals, like it's why we kind of create this Asian bubble. It's so that we don't have to encounter this. I'm of two minds about this. It's like, I mean, sure, if your preference is like other white people, if you're white and you just prefer to like have sex with other white people, there shouldn't be anything stopping you. But at the same time, like the explicit exclusion is problematic.
Conversely, there was the omakase event, right, where there was all Asian bottoms.
Whereas the explicit fetishization.
It was a little weird in that, like, well, they were pretty open to all ethnicities coming in to sample the dishes, as it were. So I don't know how I felt about that particular event. Like, I was happy because it felt like, you know, they were happy, you know, and they weren't excluding anyone. Everyone was having fun.
It was all
felt like,
consensual.
Yeah, it was all consensual. Everyone was having fun. Whether or not the fact that they themed it in this way was problematic, I don't know. I think the bigger issue is just the overall design of the event publication was a little like funny. I think, it was interesting to see that event.
They were leaning into a theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether or not it was problematic, I don't know. But when it came down to the actual event, I felt like everyone was having fun and no one was feeling excluded. So it seemed like a good time.
When it's more of a celebration of a specific ethnicity as opposed to like an exclusion, then
maybe that was the defining.
that was the
defining
intention.
hit.
Probably,
Yeah.
So on the topic of going to the Atlantis cruise and feeling free to be yourself and be gay in situations where you may not otherwise be able to in the real world, I did hear an interesting take about substance use and gay men specifically feeling the need to be on substances, even in the context of the Atlantis cruise, which is a specific environment designed for you to be able to be yourself. And it's interesting that for some of us, not all of us, during the Atlantis cruise, we were pretty much constantly surrounded by substances or otherwise taking substances in order to feel comfortable in these spaces. And I was really curious to see what your guys' take on it is.
I mean, if anyone that knows me in real life knows that like I am basically 100% sober. Like I don't even really like partake in alcohol. So I'm of two minds of this, right? Like it's like part of it is I think a lot of people take the Atlantis cruise as an excuse to be able to partake in some of these activities that are a little bit more destructive, but that are like fun. And like it's not that they feel the need to anesthetize despite feeling that they can be themselves. It's just that's just part of what they like to do. I don't necessarily want to say that I like agree with that, but I understand that it's like one of those occasions that people use. But at the same time, like whenever people find out that I'm sober, they're like, "Oh wow, that's like so impressive. That's so brave," or whatever. And I'm like, it's not really that hard. Like I don't think like if you just tried it, like it wouldn't actually be that big of an issue. But like some of you guys have like joined me in like being like sober on these events, and like I find that I really appreciate that because being the only sober person can be very lonely and feel very isolating. And I remember the first year that I went on the cruise, there were a lot of times where I would just like go back to the room because I was like, I can't take feeling so alone whilst being so surrounded by people and like needing to sort of like escape. And I didn't feel that need this time.
I do think that a certain energy gets created when you have a large group of people who take certain substances and are feeding off that energy from each other. And that's something that I don't really like. I think you do see a lot at festivals, and then on top of that you add this extra of gayness, which kind of adds maybe a horny element to it. And I do feel like it's really an interesting feeling to be surrounded by a lot of, you know, attractive gay men and just be like dancing and, you know, living in that space and living in that in that vibe for however long you're at
Yeah.
a party.
So I know it seems like these parties and like the sex element of it it seems to be a big component of like these like gay cruises to people. But I definitely saw a lot of people that like that wasn't the way that they were enjoying the cruise.
Yeah, I remember seeing a lot of like older folks, like probably 70-year-old or plus folks, like just hanging out together with their friends and like eating or enjoying shows at the karaoke bars. I just thought that like, oh, it's like really nice that like, you know, you're spending time on like this kind of cruise that's like I assume that this, you know, he's must be gay, right? So it's kind of nice to see like, especially older generation of gays getting to enjoy like a very specifically like a celebration of a gay like vacation.
I do think that this is kind of interesting, though, particularly for us. Like when we were on this trip together, you mentioned that there are like different people have different criteria for like what they want to be doing on the cruise, and it seemed to be you guys like you were more heavily invested in like going to the shows and like going to like making the most out of like the activities that were available on board. And for me and JJ, we primarily had a lot of focus on the partying, like going to the parties and enjoying those. And I think we weighted a lot of our energy towards those. Like, do you feel like there was any kind of like energy contention there between us? Like, we would miss out on some of the things.
Yeah.
And
I'm perfectly fine with that.
you were okay
Perfectly
with
fine
that,
with
yeah.
that.
Like you were okay with us doing like different things or like focusing on different things.
Because like I understand like even among the shows, right? You're like, well, this one is like one that we have to go to, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's other ones where like, if we don't go to this, like, whatever.
I think for me, it was more the fact that like what I wanted was to try to spend more quality time, like more time with us and more time with friends. So like going to the shows, that wasn't even originally like the reason I wanted to go on the cruise. It just so happened it became that way because I did find the shows actually quite entertaining, but it was also an opportunity to spend time with like all of us. And yeah, I was okay if like some of us wanted to do our own things. Like I get it that it's like there's so many things to do, and then you just kind of have to decide the things that you value more, and then sometimes that's not gonna align perfectly. That's totally fine. Like I just enjoyed just getting to spend time with us. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I was a little bit worried about like disappointing you guys when we weren't able to make things. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fully aware that like not every show is equally as valuable.
Not that I didn't want to go. It was more just like I just did not have the energy.
Yeah.
for
And
it.
then so you like you don't put the energy
just-
into the ones that like aren't worth it.
And I think that might be an interesting dynamic for a polycule versus like a like two-person relationship. It's like if like you're in a two-person relationship and they miss the thing and then like you're alone
Yeah.
and like to like view the thing that you want to view.
Yeah.
That's a little different than like I knew you guys had each other at least
Yeah.
to like watch it with each other.
Yeah, because it could be like, oh, I really want to see this one drag show with Eric and Michael, and then later on the night, for the afters, it's like, oh, I still feel a lot of energy. I still want to keep dancing, and I know the other two are tired. Now I can go with you guys to go for like the parties. So yeah, that was like the nice thing about being in a group relationship. Like I get to always have I will likely always have someone else that I can do something with, and that was important for me.
Yeah, I do remember like the first time around, it was a very similar sort of like my parties were the same, your parties were the same as like this time around.
Yeah.
And so there were a lot of shows where it was sort of I was basically the only one going, and it was really nice being like, oh, okay, actually like Eric is kind of willing to be brought along to everything, so at least like I have someone I can go with.
Yeah.
But like I still didn't hold it against you as at any point. I feel like you actually made it to more things than I expected you to.
Yeah, I know. I definitely made an effort this time to be alive for most of the important things. But yeah, I think this time around, just us being the five of us all going at the same time was definitely like I felt a little less burdened in terms of like being worried about you having like people to enjoy things with.
So we would definitely go again, right?
Well, so
I want to go.
yeah. So do we want to go on the same party one, this Caribbean one that's the party cruise, or do we want to go on the other ones, which are like the Mediterranean ones or Southeast Asia ones? Like,
I think my order of priorities is there has to be a group of people that I know going.
Yeah.
And then if they want to do a different line or a different route, thank God. But if they're still doing this one, fine.
okay, all right, yeah, that's fair.
I wouldn't mind doing this one again. Like even though it's like the same parts and they're pointless, like I never cared anyways.
No, I think I would want to do a different one, but when I'm older,
Like how much older?
Yeah.
like 50s.
Like you want,
50s?
but you want to do it as like an old person.
Yeah, enjoy it in the way that Milty saw. You know, when we get the
the
CPAP
oxygen
machine.
Hopefully you're not doing that at 50.
I feel like I've already had my fill of the partying. I don't know. It would be interesting to like go on like a Southeast Asia cruise because I have not been to much of Southeast Asia except for now just Thailand at this point.
Yeah. Maybe the demographic of people going might be a little different too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to go on one of the Southeast Asian ones. Yeah.
Yeah. See you there in 10 years.
Not that. I like sooner than 10 years.
You think so? Okay.
I don't think we're gonna have the energy.
I know you can do it. Yeah, it's like you got.
No, exactly. I want to go when I literally like don't feel like I have it in me to go party, and it's like, well, I don't have it in me to go party, so I will actually just go to the ports and just like
You can still
be
do
a
that.
lazy
You
tourist.
can already do that.
No, I know you can already do that, but it's like, but I have more energy to want to party right now. It's like doing
Okay.
it with the choice removed. Is what I'm
Great.
saying.
Okay, that means we need to switch seats, and you four can like do that, and I'll just go to the parties.
Yeah. At 50,
Ugh,
right?
yeah. Did we see any
What?
like
50-year-old people.
yeah on the cruise that were like just really going for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's-
Definitely.
Turkish
like
guy?
what at the white part the white party, right?
Yeah.
There was this guy who had this like he had the sash, the birthday sash. It's like 50 and fabulous or something. And I just like he seemed to be having the time of his life.
Okay.
I said
Maybe
hi to
it's-
him. I said happy birthday, and he was like he was loving it. He was
Okay,
loving it.
okay.
Yeah. It was very.
So it's
I
still
saw
possible.
him. Yeah. I saw that. It made me very happy to see someone at his age was just having fun at these parties. Well, thanks again for joining us on another episode of the Cule Kids. I hope that our discussion surrounding all the craziness that happens on these cruises was enlightening for you. If you've ever been on a cruise before, just tell us your stories. Write a comment below. Be sure to like, follow us, and subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. We're also on Spotify. And you're officially a cool kid for listening. Bye. Big gay.
Yeah.
Big gay. SpongeBob, big gay. No pants, okay.